Life has a way of testing us, and one of the most common reactions people have when things don't go their way is to start whining. Whining is that constant complaining, that negative energy where you keep repeating what's wrong, how unfair life is, and why nothing ever works out for you. It feels like a release in the moment, but in reality, it's one of the most destructive habits you can have. It drains your energy, it keeps you stuck, and it blinds you to the opportunities that are sitting right in front of you. The truth is, whining has never solved a single problem. You can complain for hours, days, even years, and nothing will change. The only thing that changes life is action. That's why the people who stop whining and start winning are the ones who build lives that others only dream about. Think about it like this: every time you whine, you're wasting energy that could have been used to take a step forward. You're pouring your time into rehearsing the problem instead of rehearsing the solution. You're training your mind to stay stuck. The people who succeed in life aren't the ones who never face obstacles. They're the ones who refuse to let obstacles silence their movement. They may get knocked down, but instead of sitting there crying about it, they get back up, wipe off the dust, and keep moving. That's the difference between a whiner and a winner. Most people don't even realize how much time they spend complaining. It becomes automatic. You wake up in the morning and start whining about how early it is, how tired you feel, how you don't want to go to work. You get to your job and complain about your boss, your coworkers, the workload. You come home and whine about bills, about the traffic, about the fact that nothing seems to be going your way. That cycle of negativity becomes your normal, and before you know it, you've spent years stuck in the same place because your energy never left the space of complaining long enough to create solutions. Winners train themselves differently. They look at the exact same problems, but instead of whining, they ask, what can I do about this? How do I move forward? What's the first step I can take right now? That's the language of winning. When you decide to stop whining, you take your focus off the problem and shift it to the solution. And once you start looking for solutions, your whole world begins to change. Opportunities that were invisible before start appearing because your mind is finally open to seeing them. The reason whining is so dangerous is because it makes you feel powerless. It convinces you that everything is happening to you and that you have no control. But that's a lie. You may not control everything that happens, but you always control how you respond. Winners understand this. They take responsibility. They don't waste time pointing fingers or blaming others. They know that blame doesn't build, excuses don't pay bills, and whining doesn't create change. What creates change is ownership, discipline, and consistency. I've lived through this myself. There was a time when I could have whined every single day. I didn't have the money I wanted, the career I dreamed of seemed impossible, and the odds were stacked against me. If I had spent my time complaining about how unfair life was, I would still be stuck in that same place. But I had to make a decision. Was I going to keep whining about the life I didn't have, or was I going to start building the life I wanted? The day I stopped whining was the day I started winning. It wasn't easy. It took long nights, rejection, failure, and a whole lot of persistence. But I learned that winning only shows up for people who show up. You've got to understand, life is never going to be perfect. If you're waiting for the day when everything lines up exactly right before you start moving, you're going to wait forever. Winners don't wait for perfect conditions. Winners start with what they have, right where they are, and they build as they go. They understand that progress beats perfection every time. Whiners, on the other hand, keep saying, I'll start when I have more money, more time, more support. That day never comes, and so they stay stuck. If you want to win, you have to move with what you've got, and trust that as you move, the rest will fall into place. Every single person has the ability to win, but not everyone makes the choice. That's what it comes down to, a choice. You can choose to keep whining about your circumstances, or you can choose to get up, take responsibility, and fight for something better. Every time you feel yourself slipping into complaints, stop and ask yourself, is this moving me forward? If the answer is no, shift your focus immediately to action. Even the smallest step toward your goal is better than sitting still and whining. Winning is not about being the smartest, the richest, or the most talented. It's about being the most persistent. It's about refusing to let excuses become your language. It's about training your mind to push past the urge to complain and to start creating solutions instead. Life will always throw challenges your way. You can either whine about them or win through them. The choice is yours. When you really understand this, it changes everything. You realize that the life you want is not out of reach. It's not waiting for luck or some miracle moment. It's waiting for you to stop wasting your energy on whining and start channeling that energy into winning. Every time you choose action over excuses, you move one step closer. Every time you decide to get back up instead of cry about how unfair it is, you build strength. Every time you push through instead of whine through, you win. That's the power of this message. Whining doesn't move mountains, but winning does. Whining doesn't change your future, but winning does. Whining doesn't open doors, but winning does. And the best part is, the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you want is the decision to stop whining and start winning. Every person faces setbacks in life, and no matter who you are or where you come from, you will experience moments where things don't go as planned. It could be a business that fails, a relationship that falls apart, a dream that doesn't come together when you hoped it would, or even a personal challenge that knocks you down so hard you wonder if you can ever stand again. The truth is, setbacks are not the end of the road. They are part of the road. They are not meant to destroy you, but to shape you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you for the victories that lie ahead. The difference between people who stay stuck and people who rise is how they handle those setbacks. If you treat every obstacle as a reason to quit, you'll never see the life you deserve. But if you learn to see setbacks as opportunities, you'll discover that every challenge carries the seed of growth and the chance to become stronger. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that setbacks mean they're not meant to succeed. They think, if this didn't work out, maybe it wasn't for me. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I don't have what it takes. That mindset kills more dreams than failure ever will. Winners understand that setbacks don't mean stop. They mean learn, adjust, and move forward differently. Every setback has a lesson, and if you can find the lesson, you'll come back stronger than before. Life doesn't hand out victories to people who give up easily. It rewards those who keep showing up, even after falling down again and again. You have to remember that nothing worth having comes without struggle. The people you admire, the ones who inspire you, all faced obstacles that could have broken them. But instead of giving up, they turned those moments into fuel. Athletes who lost games used those losses to train harder. Entrepreneurs who went broke used that failure to become smarter with money and strategy. Leaders who were doubted used the criticism as motivation to rise higher. Every setback became a stepping stone because they refused to let it be the end. The truth is, setbacks build resilience. They test your character and your commitment to what you say you want. It's easy to be motivated when everything is going your way. It's easy to believe in yourself when doors are opening and life is smooth. But what happens when the door is closed? What happens when nothing seems to be working? That's where winners are separated from quitters. Winners keep pushing even in the darkness, because they know that the darkest nights produce the brightest mornings. They don't let temporary defeat convince them that permanent failure is the outcome. When you face a setback, the first thing you need to do is change your perspective. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? What is this teaching me? How can this make me better? That shift in mindset turns pain into power. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being a student of your circumstances. And when you're a student, you gain wisdom. Wisdom is the real prize of every setback, because it gives you the tools to succeed in the future. Without setbacks, you wouldn't have the wisdom to sustain success when it finally comes. Another thing setbacks teach you is patience. Too many people want instant success, but life doesn't work that way. Life is about process. You plant seeds, you water them, and then you wait for the harvest. But in that waiting, you face storms, you face droughts, you face weeds that try to choke your progress. That's what setbacks are. They're storms, they're obstacles. They're challenges meant to test whether you're willing to keep watering your dream even when you don't see results yet. Winners stay patient. They trust the process. They understand that every delay is not denial, and that sometimes the setbacks are simply preparation for something bigger. You also have to realize that setbacks reveal your strength. You never really know how strong you are until life tests you. And when you survive what you thought would break you, you realize you are capable of more than you imagined. That realization becomes confidence, and that confidence becomes fuel for your next step. Every time you overcome a setback, you add another layer of strength to your character. Before long, you become unshakable, because you've been through too much to be knocked down permanently. That's why some people seem unstoppable. They've been through enough setbacks to develop an unbreakable spirit. It's important to remember that setbacks are not just obstacles, sometimes they are redirections. Sometimes what feels like a closed door is actually life steering you toward a better one. You may not understand it in the moment, but later you'll look back and see how that so-called failure saved you from something smaller and guided you toward something greater. That relationship that ended may have opened the way for a healthier one. That job you lost may have pushed you into your real calling. That failure in business may have taught you lessons that led to an even bigger success. Winners learn to trust that even setbacks are part of the journey. The real danger is when you let setbacks make you bitter instead of better. If you hold on to resentment, anger, or self-pity, you'll stay stuck. Winners don't waste time blaming the world for their struggles. They accept what happened, they learn, and they use it as fuel. That's how they keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, setbacks only have the power you give them. If you treat them like walls, they'll stop you. If you treat them like hurdles, you'll jump over them. You can't control when or how setbacks come, but you can control how you respond. That's where your power lies. Your response determines whether the setback becomes the end of your story or just another chapter. Winners decide that their story will keep going no matter what. They may bend, but they don't break. They may stumble, but they don't stay down. They turn their pain into persistence, their struggles into strength, and their failures into foundations for future success. Every time you get back up after a setback, you send a message to life that you will not be defeated. You prove to yourself and to the world that you are stronger than the challenges in front of you. That spirit of resilience becomes your greatest weapon. It not only helps you win, but it inspires others to keep going in their own battles. Because people don't admire perfection, they admire perseverance. And perseverance is built through setbacks. So when life knocks you down, don't waste time whining about why it happened. Don't let your energy be drained by negativity or self-pity. Stand back up, learn the lesson, adjust your strategy, and keep moving forward. Because in the end, setbacks are not meant to stop you. They are meant to shape you into the person strong enough to handle the success waiting on the other side. And if you refuse to quit, if you see every obstacle as an opportunity to grow, you'll discover that setbacks were never your enemy. They were your training ground for greatness. Success only comes when excuses are replaced with effort, and this is the reality most people don't want to hear. Excuses feel comfortable. They give you a reason to stay where you are, to avoid risk, and to explain why you're not where you want to be. But excuses never produce progress. They may protect your ego for a moment, but they rob you of growth in the long run. On the other hand, effort is the great equalizer. You may not be the smartest, the richest, or the most connected, but if you put in consistent effort, you will outwork and eventually outrun the people who make excuses. Life doesn't reward excuses. It rewards effort, discipline, and persistence. The day you stop defending your limitations with excuses and start fighting for your potential with effort, your life begins to change. Excuses come in many forms. Some people say, I don't have the time. Others say, I don't have the money, I don't have the education, I don't have the connections. Some say, it's too late for me, I've failed too many times, or I just wasn't meant for more. But all of those are stories we tell ourselves to avoid facing the truth. The truth is, you always have time for what you make a priority. The truth is you can learn, grow, and start from scratch at any age. The truth is, people with less money, less education, and fewer connections than you have succeeded because they refuse to hide behind excuses. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the amount of effort you're willing to put in. Effort is powerful because it compounds. One small action repeated daily can create massive results over time. Too often, people think effort has to be huge and dramatic, but the truth is effort is about consistency. Waking up early to work on your dream, saving a small amount of money consistently, exercising daily, reading to grow your mind. Those small acts of effort build into habits, and habits create transformation. Excuses keep you stagnant, but effort creates momentum. And once you build momentum, success becomes inevitable. The reason effort beats excuses every time is because effort puts you in motion, while excuses keep you standing still. You cannot complain your way to success. You cannot wait your way to success. And you cannot excuse your way to success. You can only work your way there. People who succeed in business, relationships, health, or any area of life are not the ones with the least problems. They are the ones who chose to keep putting in effort even when it was hard. They refuse to let excuses be louder than their dreams. Excuses are also dangerous because they are seductive. They make you feel justified in quitting. They give you comfort in the moment but regret in the long run. Years later, you look back and realize that the excuse you leaned on was never strong enough to justify the dream you let die. Winners know this, and that's why they guard themselves against excuses. They catch themselves when they start to say, I can't, and replace it with, I will try. They silence excuses with effort, knowing that action speaks louder than any justification. Effort requires humility. It requires admitting that you may not have it all figured out, but you're willing to learn. It requires getting uncomfortable, trying new things, failing, and trying again. That's why so many avoid effort. They don't want the pain that comes with growth. But what they don't realize is that the pain of effort is temporary, while the pain of regret lasts forever. You can either endure the discomfort of hard work now or the heartbreak of missed opportunity later. Winners choose effort every time, because they know it's the only path to lasting success. Another important truth is that effort inspires respect. People may doubt your skills, your background, or your potential, but if they see your effort, they cannot deny your determination. Effort is visible. It shows up in the hours you put in the sacrifices you make, in the way you keep moving when others would have stopped. Over time, even if you start behind, your effort will catch up and surpass those who started ahead but grew lazy or relied on excuses. That's the power of consistent work. It will always outperform talent that isn't disciplined. Effort is also deeply connected to faith. When you put in effort, you're showing that you believe in your future. You're saying to life, I may not see results yet, but I trust that if I keep sowing seeds, the harvest will come. Excuses are rooted in fear, but effort is rooted in faith. Excuses say, can't because of what I see now. Effort says, I will, because I believe in what's possible. That belief, backed by consistent action, is what moves mountains. To understand the power of effort, just look at history. Every invention, every breakthrough, every great achievement came because someone refused to stop trying. They faced failures, setbacks, and criticism, but they kept putting in effort. Imagine if they had given in to excuses. Imagine if they had said, it's too hard, it's taking too long, people don't believe in me. We would not have the progress we enjoy today. Effort changed the world, and effort will change your life too if you commit to it. The biggest shift happens when you stop looking for reasons why you can't and start looking for reasons why you must. When you see your goals as non-negotiable, you stop allowing excuses to enter your mind. You start seeing effort not as a burden, but as the price of admission to the life you want. Winners don't wake up every day feeling motivated. They wake up disciplined. They put in effort whether they feel like it or not, and that discipline creates results that motivation alone could never achieve. It's important to understand that effort doesn't mean perfection. You will make mistakes, you will fall short some days, and you will face setbacks. But effort is about showing up again and again. It's about refusing to quit. Consistency beats perfection every time. If you put in honest effort day after day, you will see progress, and progress, no matter how small, is better than standing still in excuses. When you finally commit to replacing excuses with effort, you'll notice a shift in your confidence. You'll feel stronger, more in control, and more proud of yourself. You'll stop being weighed down by guilt or regret, because you'll know you're giving your best. That self-respect becomes fuel that drives you to keep going. And that's when you become unstoppable. When your own effort proves to you that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. At the end of the day, excuses are easy, but they keep you empty. Effort is hard, but it fills your life with meaning, growth, and achievement. You cannot have both. You must decide what you want more. The comfort of excuses or the reward of effort. Winners choose effort, and because of that choice, they experience the success that others only dream about. Life will always give you two options: keep explaining why you can't, or keep proving why you can. And when you choose effort over excuses, you choose to win.